So I've read a lot of Shakespeare plays in my day, but this is one that I actually haven't gotten a chance to read, so I was very excited to see the adaptation of the play that I haven't read by Shakespeare, so that's fun. Hello once again, watchers of Good Movies. My name is Nick Pell, and this is once again coming from my apartment. Now today we're going to be talking about the film Macbeth. This is, like I said, an adaptation of the William Shakespeare classic play. I have not read said play, so I had nothing to really base this on. I had nothing to base any of the dialogue off of, and so it made for a very interesting test of my kind of transcribing knowledge just in my head with Shakespearean lines, which don't always make the most sense. And this was obvious when I saw at least 4 people walk out of the theater about half an hour into the movie, and I feel like I heard some of them say, "I can't understand what he's saying," because it's all in Shakespearean language, and I found that hysterical because I had every idea of what was happening. Kind of. So obviously this movie is not going to appeal to everyone just because of the language. It is, as far as I can tell, a direct adaptation of the play. Obviously they're probably going to change a few things in regards to taking out some dialogue and using the more descriptive stuff for just scenes themselves and just letting the scenes describe themselves. And a lot of just the background things, before I get to anything else, the backgrounds for a lot of things, including the castle and just the final shot and the opening shot, are just fantastic. The film opens with this giant clash of warriors from 2 different countries, I'm assuming, and just this huge battle that is led by Macbeth, played by Michael Fassbender. Michael Fassbender is doing a lot of great projects recently. He started off, at least I knew him originally from X-Men First Class, and now he is doing Steve Jobs, which he just did last October, which I saw and I really liked, and now he's doing Macbeth. These types of Shakespearean films are normally left to the likes of Kenneth Branagh. If you've never seen his Shakespeare adaptations, they're phenomenal, so check those out. But this is a very different take. It's a very violent film. You see people die. You see in slow motion their throats getting slit, and it is, like I said, very, very violent. And so go into that with knowing that. Michael Fassbender, though, he is fantastic in the role of Macbeth. I absolutely loved him. I thought that he showed a fantastic range to his character, because you see him in the serious warrior mode in the first part of the film, and then you gradually see him descend into madness. Basically, the plot of the film is that these 4 witches, I think that they're witches, they come to him at the end of this big battle, and they basically tell him, "Hey, you're going to be king. But this other guy who you're friends with, I think, his sons are going to rule the Scottish kingdom for a while. But you're going to be king, so have fun with that while it lasts." He knows that he's going to be king. He does what he needs to do to become king. And then once he gets that crown, the idea that he is going to be usurped by the sons of this man just drives him to madness. And it's just a very interesting transformation to see Michael Fassbender portray, and he does it phenomenally. Marion Cotillard, I don't know if I'm saying your last name right, I apologize if I'm not, but she is Lady Macbeth, and she also does a very nice job. She has kind of the similar personality, per se, as she did in Inception. That's kind of the main film that I know her from, and she has just kind of this manipulative side to her, which I really enjoy. She's one of the people that kind of prods Macbeth towards something that he has to do in order to become king, and I thought that was really interesting, seeing a woman have that kind of manipulative power, and she doesn't have any mystical abilities like in a lot of Shakespeare plays where it's either like a seer or a fortune teller, or witches in this case. So I thought that was really interesting. But I really cannot emphasize well enough how well Michael Fassbender shows this transformation from sanity and just knowing what you're doing and where your path is going to lead, into just this madness which envelops just because you know that your reign is going to be short-lived and you don't know how to stop it. And that's just something which Macbeth just tries desperately to stop from happening, and it's really interesting to see how he does that. The music in this film just makes a lot of these scenes just stand out so much more. I can't applaud the composer, I don't know who it was, but the music in this film is just fantastic, and it makes the film just 10 times better than it maybe would have been. Then the end fight, there's this big confrontation. I'm not going to spoil it really, but it's clouded in red, and you have Macbeth fighting off his opponent, and it's just this really interesting confrontation which goes on between the two of them. And I just absolutely loved the final scene of this film because it's just okay, I'm going to talk about it. Spoilers for the end of Macbeth if you have not seen or read Macbeth. Spoilers, I will put an annotation or a note down here somewhere to know when you can unmute the video, or where you can click to. So, spoilers starting now. So the end scene where Macbeth is fighting off his opponent, he loses, his belly gets cut, and he takes a long time to die, as most Shakespearean characters do. And you just see him kneeling on the ground, his head is just down, with his sword planted behind him, and you just see this army, his army, basically just walk past him like nothing. And it's just this really interesting showcase of a man who wanted power more than anything. And then once he has it and he loses it, he is just nothing. He is nothing once he is gone. And that's just a really interesting scene, and I just loved how they showed that in the film. Alright, spoilers are done. Just summing up this movie, I absolutely loved it. I loved seeing this movie, and I was very worried going in because I had actually forgotten that it was going to be all in Shakespearean language, and I didn't know how well I was going to be able to understand kind of what was going on, some of the dialogue, and I was actually able to understand it fairly well, I think at least. I think I got the gist of what they were saying most of the time. Big speeches, which I'm sure are famous from this play, they're delivered fantastically by Fassbender and Cotillard. Yeah, I can't praise this movie enough. I definitely recommend going to see it if it's in a theater near you. Apparently it's going to be on Amazon. If you have Amazon Prime, it's going to be on that site at some point, so you can check it out at a later date then. But I definitely recommend seeing it in a theater if possible, because the experience itself is just so incredible just on a big screen. And yeah, this is easily one of my favorite films of the year. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Macbeth. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Did you like the film as much as I did? Did you hate it more than I did? Let me know. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe once again if you so choose. I appreciate it immensely. And as always, parent people, my name is Nick Pell, and once again, keep on watching.